Welcome to the Talk the Book program of AP State Council of Higher Education, a program to inculcate the habit of book reading for the young generation students who are not in a point of going with the books other than the textbooks. So the present generation is losing the habit of reading books, which are the essence and source of the intellectual as well as the customary components of the present day society is being revealed by through the books. So the book reading habit has to be continued to strengthen the society as a community. So the students has to get the habit of book reading, so they are not in a position to go with the book reading. So Professor K. Hemchandra Reddy, Chairman AP State Council of Higher Education, has taken an initiative in introducing some of the good books through the expert reviewers, both Telugu as well as the English subjects. So this program is being live with the YouTube channel, Talk the Book APSCHE program channel. All the episodes of the past are also available with this YouTube channel. Today, we have with us, this program is being live on every Friday between 3 to 4 p.m. Today we have with us Dr. Sudha Singh, who is going to review the book Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. This book is about 170 years old, but still it can be called as a classic. It is being presented by Sudha Singh. Regarding the review of Sudha Singh, she is an accomplished English assistant professor with an extensive and illustrious 14-year career in the teaching English language, currently serving as a dedicated faculty member at ANITS. Her passion for the education language has been the driving force behind a remarkable journey. Throughout her career, Sudha has demonstrated her expertise in teaching, leaving an indelible mark in both state and CBSE schools. As a postgraduate teacher, he has adeptly handled grade 10, 11, and 12, enriching the academic experience of her students. Sudha's educational background is a testament to her commitment to continuous learning and professional development. She holds a master's degree in English, a master's in education, a master's in human management, and a certificate in teaching English. Currently, she has submitted her PhD and awaiting Viva, and that is going to be completed within a few days. As an educator, Sudha Singh continues to inspire and empower students with her unwavering commitment to academic excellence and her innovative approach to teaching. Her profile stands as a beacon of academic achievements, embodying the spirit of lifelong learning and a genuine love for the English language. Now we'll leave it to Dr. We can call it Sudha Singh to review the book, the classical English classical book by Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist. Thank you, madam. Unmute it. Unmute it. You please unmute. Unmute, madam. You please unmute your audio. In a WebEx, down, mute, స్టాప్ వీడియో ఫంక్షన్స్ లో మ్యూట్ దగ్గర పోయి అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి. యు ఆర్ ఇన్ గ్రీన్ మీద మళ్ళీ క్లిక్ చేయండి మేడం. యువర్ ఆడియో ఇస్ నాట్ జూమ్ ఇబ్బందిగా ఉన్నది. ఏం పాత దాన్ని పెట్టుకోండి, ఇది పెట్టుకోండి. బయటకు వచ్చేసిందా పాత You start, man.
My audible, sir?
Okay, you start, you do it. Okay, continue.
Am I audible now?
Please. Yes, please. You continue.
Can I continue?
Do it.
I apologize for the technical glitch that we have come across. I thank Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, Chairman Professor K. Hemachandra Reddy, Professor Bhaskar, and my HOD who has provided me with the opportunity to present a beautiful story to the audience here. Oliver Twist. If the students of class 9th in state education Andhra Pradesh remember, there's a story called Oliver Asks for More. And my curiosity picked up after I actually happened to teach this story to my students. Why the story? The story has a great significance of how a character and a person will always go hand in hand. This classic English novel is written by Charles Dickens. He is a Victorian era writer, and in his stories, he has always showed up some social aspects. All of his stories are fiction, and this Oliver Twist piece of his book or novel is very fluid in its manner, in the language concept itself. Any student or anybody from the audience can easily start reading the book, and the words used here are very simple, they are not complex, and it will be very interesting. With every twist of the story, you kind of happen to open another door of mysteries. Let's begin with the story. So here, the Oliver Twist, this boy is actually an orphan. his mother, Agnes, fell in love with a man and got engaged. And this story we will unravel later. So, this unwed mother, the promise of marriage happened to him, but somehow he had some inheritance acclaim in Rome. So, he went to Rome, and before he could come back, he died. Since Agnes was already pregnant, the elite family in London abandoned her. So Agnes had to live in a workhouse. Workhouse those days in British era, also in Ireland, were provided for the people who did not have a place to live and who did not have a source of income. So Agnes was taken into a warehouse where, while giving birth to Oliver Twist, she had died. This boy was taken up into an orphanage and was raised in there till 9 years. He got his name Oliver Twist in the orphanage. And here in the story, the author has highlighted how social disparities exist in the society, how poor people always remain poor and rich always thrived in those societies, making use of these poor lives, working for them without any payment and without any nurturing provided to them. Mr. Bumble, who is a parish in the parish, who is a small officer, always made people children at his kid house work with unreasonable care and things. Where Oliver asks for more, story happens where Oliver at 9 years of age feels hungry and he demands for more. When he demanded more, there was given a punishment by Mr. Bumble to Oliver, and so from that parish or orphanage, he was sent off to as an apprentice to a social reformer, a person who works. Earlier, Mr. Bumble also made Oliver Twist work as a person who weaves the oakman. We call it the threads, the ropes that we make. But he was not paid, and children from the orphanage also involved in it. As a punishment to the children who were orphaned, they were sold off to the apprentice people as an apprentice to Mr. Sowerberry. Mr. Sowerberry was a coffin maker, and his wife, where she treats him with inhumanity. He also has an apprentice named Noah and another girl who was working with them. When Oliver goes into their care, he was taken interest. Although Mr. Sowerberry liked Oliver, the wife of Mr. Sowerberry, that is Mrs. Sowerberry, never liked Oliver, and she always ill-treated him. She treated him like he was a house help, and she never provided proper food and care to him, wherein Noah, who was already working there as an apprentice, ill-treated him in the sense he used to pinch him, push his hair, make him cry, and things like that. In one of those commotions, Oliver and Noah had a great fight, and Mrs. Sowerberry happened to notice the situation, so he begged him blue and purple. Oliver was really hurt and he felt this is not the life he's actually aiming for, so he ran away that very day after he was thrashed inhumanly by Mr. Sowerberry. And he, on his toes, he ran back to London and he wanted to escape this low living life that he had been living since then. After arriving to London, he met an artful dodger. Artful dodger is a similar age boy who is a pickpocketer. This artful dodger was working under a wingman named Fagin. Fagin was the person who was a social provider for all the orphan boys and girls who ran away from their house. Fagin also was a kind man. He was never shown in the story as an abuser. And he's very important person or a wing leader of all these pickpocketers were Artful Dodger, where Oliver Twist, when he meets him, he talks to him, saying his condition that he has run away, and Artful Dodger takes him like a friend. And Oliver is so innocent and naive that he believes that he's going to be a friend, and he walks in along with Artful Dodger to Fagin, who was the master of all the pickpocketers, a gang of boys and girls who were run away from their houses or orphanages due to some reason. And Oliver was taken into a shelter by Fagin. He was put into a lair. Lair is a place where animals are kept in the context of saying that they make handkerchiefs and wallets. Well, Oliver believed them, and one of the few days, Oliver, along with Artful Dodger and Charlie Bates, goes along into the street. When he goes into the street, this Artful Dodger and Charlie Bates happen to rob someone named Mr. Brownlow onto the streets. When they are trying to pick his pocket and steal his handkerchief, they run away. Somehow, Oliver Twist, accompanying them, got confused and also identified that they do not actually make purses and handkerchiefs, but they steal. But because of that shock, he was unable to run away from that place, although frightened. And in his escape of frightened, he is caught by Mr. Brownlow, who also happens to be kind to him later on. So Mr. Brownlow takes Oliver Twist, takes him to the magistrate, saying, "This boy has tried to steal my purse or wallet." Well, although Brownlow was unable to accept the innocent face and the righteousness that Oliver was showing, he believed he did not. But somehow, as an evidence, he was found at the crime scene. When the inquiry was made around into the story, a bookshop keeper who was there when the robbery was happening with Mr. Brownlow identified that it was not actually Oliver who stole it, but it was some other pickpocketers who quite often involved in such a kind of acts. Well, Oliver was left without any accusation on him, but somehow, because of the accusation, Oliver feels scared and he falls sick. And because nobody was there, realizing he's just an orphan running away from another place to London, Mr. Brownlow, who's a kind man, takes Oliver to his house and provides him with nourishment and care. Mr. Brownlow takes him, and Mr. Brownlow's household's name is Mrs. Bedwin. She nourishes him like her own kid. But in the meanwhile, in this episode where Oliver is taken care by the good people, Fagin, who is the master of the gang of the people who pickpocket and work for him, the young boys and girls work for him doing robbery, realize that Oliver has actually understood and he has become a witness of his whole system of pickpocketers, and he feared that Oliver would be going and telling this whole story to the police. So he plots up the whole story, involves Nancy and Bill Sykes. Nancy is another pickpocketer who's a part of the gang, and Bill Sykes is another an adult who is a part of the gang. They plot that they want the Oliver back to their own gang and make him a criminal. And in this process, they wait for an opportunity. In one of the days, Oliver has been asked to pay the book, sell the book, and pay some bills while he was going on his way back to the shop to do the chores. He is caught up by these people. Nancy and Bill Sykes speak to him sweetly, call him to another side, take away the $5 bill that is there. He's having £5 bill that is he had. They took away the new clothes that he was putting on, and they also robbed the books. Fearing that, although Oliver shouted for the help from the police, to no avail, Fagin and Artful daughter, they capture him. They take him back to the lair and they threaten him. And this is where they want Oliver to be turned up into a criminal. So they plot another robbery. In that robbery, they plan on going into the house and to make Oliver, they threaten Oliver to take away his life if he does not listens to them. So they plan a robbery. They take him to the house that they were about to commit the robbery, make him unlock the door, but somehow the gang enters through the door and they push Oliver through the window inside the room. Although in the process of committing the act of robbery, due to the commotion and noise that they make it during that time, they are caught, and the people in the house shoot Oliver, mistaking him to be a robber. Well, because he's shot, the whole of the gang runs away, and the housemates, that is Miss Rose and Maylie, they take him in under their care and get him treated, and they nurse him to get back to normal, removing the bullets and all sort of things. And then Oliver, after he recovers, goes back to Mr. Brownlow's house, and Mr. Brownlow, who happened to be away from London, reaches back to London, and that is when Oliver Twist decides that he wants Mr. Brownlow to meet those another kind people, Mrs. Rose Maylie, who had saved him from another life's tragedy. While they go and meet, in the process when they meet, there is a revelation in the book where Edward Leaford, the name of Oliver's father, uh, a, a character, his half brother named Monks, appear into the story, where the unraveling of the whole story happens as to how Agnes, Oliver Twist's mother, happens to meet Edward Leaford, who was already separated or divorced from Monk's mother. And they both fell in love, they got engaged, and he went to his father's house to claim his inheritance. But before he could reach London, he expired. And since the family disowns, he also comes to know that the Rose Maylie, the one who nursed him once the bullet was shot into him, turns out to be Oliver's aunt, who were from very well-to-do family. Well, this whole story is happening on the other side, where Fagin was plotting in to capture Oliver back into the criminal activities. They realize that the story also tells in that Monks, who is the half brother of Oliver Twist, is actually plotting, joining hands with Fagin to prove that Oliver is a criminal and he is an unfit person to claim the inheritance that his father has left only for Oliver. And Nancy and Bill Sykes were involved in the story. Somehow Nancy hears the whole plot of how Monks is trying to take away all the money and prove him guilty in the court of the act and take away all the inheritance. Only then Monks could give. Somehow when Nancy comes to know this, she escapes these people and she tries to meet Mr. Brownlow and Mrs. Rose Maylie outside on the London Bridge. When she meets them, she forgets or she is unaware that Fagin somehow is sensing disloyalty in Nancy. And Nancy is a character here who is shown, though she is a part of a group where everybody is involved into immoral acts, she keeps her morality intact and she has a liking towards Oliver's innocence. So she goes up and meets Mr. Brownlow and Rosemary, and she tells the whole story of how Oliver's half brother, Monk, has planned along with Fagin to take away all his inheritance. Not only that, she also suggests uh, some tricks or some plan on how Oliver could be saved from such a kind of situation, and he could claim back to his real wealth that is waiting for him. Well, but Nancy is unaware that a rat or a mole is sent. Fagin has attached her with his believable man who has seen Nancy telling the truth out. He goes back, man, the messenger goes back to Fagin, and he tells him that Nancy has told all the stories. Well, Bill Sykes and Nancy were romantically involved, although in this criminal world, Bill Sykes gets really angry and he goes up trying to confront Nancy. He beats her so harsh that in the process she dies. And when he realizes in his anger that he has killed Nancy, he runs away from London. He fled away from London. And the news that Bill Sykes and Fagin have murdered Nancy spread like a wildfire in the whole London, and everybody was looking for them. Later on, Fagin got arrested and was sentenced with death as an execution. And Mr. Brownlow confronted Monks about how he has plotted against Oliver, and then he decided to give him a second chance. Although Oliver, who has lived his life as an orphan, he had the complete discretion to take away the whole wealth the father has left for him, but he agreed to share 50% of the wealth with his brother Monks. Monks, although takes away 50% of the wealth that father left in for Oliver, misuses the money and he lands himself into the jail. Now, in the later part of the story, Mr. Brownlow adopts Oliver Twist and he promises him to provide with love, care, and affection. Dodger was convicted in punishment. In the whole story, the Dodger who brought Oliver into the criminal gang, he was convicted of punishment and then he was jailed into the prison. Charlie Bates, who is a part of this criminal gang, has become, because Fagin got into the prison, Charlie Bates comes out of that group, and now he lives as an honest man. Noah, the apprentice of Mr. Sowerberry, is now become a semi-professional police informer. Now, this is all about the story of Oliver Twist. And here I tell you that although in the Oliver Twist, Oliver has a strong personality and the whole novel has been named after Oliver Twist. If you look at his character, you just identify that Oliver Twist is an orphan who has not given into the situations where he was faced with in the orphanage. He was ill-treated, but he never became a rebellious. In the later part of the life, when he gets caught up into the gang of pickpocketers, he does not commit a crime and he does not participates into any criminal activity. Later part of the life as well, where his brother Monks tries to frame him into an accusation, still he treats him as a half brother and is willing to he actually shared 50% of his inheritance. Apart from that, the protagonist is not very strong. You see, Mr. Brownlow and Rose Maylie in this whole book show that epitome of kindness in the rich society, that some people, some portion of kind people do exist who show a caring hand, who share a caring hand towards the unprivileged person. Mr. Bumble and the whole of the workhouse depicts people in authority, people in power, how they do not let people below them grow and support. They just thrive under someone else's hard work. This is my analysis of the book. I hope it was engaging. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Because still you have got so much time. On behalf of AP State Council of Higher Education, I thank you for presenting this simple book in a simple manner for the students of Andhra Pradesh. Thank you.